Guys, today's video we are going to be doing a review on the Slot Guru Products cooling box. So this is a pretty awesome setup. We did do a reel on it, which was sent in by a customer, and totally sounded like a jet or a turbo, but pretty nice setup. Very compact. Has on-off switch. Does come with an Allen key so that you can pull the bottom off to change out the battery. And the tape is to keep the switch in the off position during shipping, just in case something gets bounced around and bumps it. But it's actually really quiet. It doesn't sound like anything like the video, but pretty cool setup. Car goes right on like so. Has nice heavy duty rails essentially to suck the car down, not, doesn't fall off of there. Also too, the fan is far enough away from the top that it doesn't get sucked down by like a Neo car or anything with super strong mags. A lot of the, I would say the cheaper units out there like this, when you put the car on, you'll hear the fan go, whoa, and that's because it's too far away and it's not as high quality of a fan as the Slot Guru one. So the way we're gonna test this today is we will run a stock V-spec on our track for, we'll run it for a minute. We'll check the temperature with our temp gun, and then we will let it sit for 1 minute, which we will probably just fast forward through. 1 minute, we'll see how much it cools off after a minute, and then we'll do that same test but using the fan setup, and we'll see how much it cools off the car, and that'll give you guys a good idea of what to expect out of it. Another thing to note also, it does have a port on the side which can be used as a charge port if down the road you wanted to add a rechargeable battery to it. It has a 9-volt unit in it right now, which does last quite a while, but that also too depends on what car, or not what car, but it can last up to like 3 hours basically. So if you're running it for 3 hours, that's how much battery time you're gonna get out of it. Really only have a minute to a minute and a half between lane changes. So if you were to use this thing, that 3 hours is going to be well more than a season of racing, but it does have that option. So down the road, if you wanted to put a rechargeable pack in there, you definitely could do that. But real nice silicone stands to keep it nice and planted, perfectly level, great unit. And this one, the one that Viper carries right now, are only available in the Viper Green, so that's kind of an exclusive that we have, but pretty neat setup. So let's get out to the track and see what we got. All right guys, so what we're gonna do here, we're gonna run a 2-minute heat, 2-minute heat, and we will check the temperature of the armature and the commutator. I like to check the comm, or at least get my laser inside of the end bell where the comm is. So our ambient in here right now, 73 degrees. But we also want to make sure that when we check it, that the temperature is not continuing to rise or drop. We want to make sure that it's stable. So sometimes because the heat, depending on how the heat is dissipated, you could have a little bit different numbers. And really the main thing that we want to do here is we want to show how much the cooler cools it off in between heats. So we want to make sure that we're giving it the proper test. But we're going to go 2 minutes. This car should be for sure up to operating temperature after 2 minutes. If I crash, I'm going to hustle to put the car back on, or Sam will. I'll cover this side if he got that side or whatnot, and we'll check the temperature. After a minute of cool down, we'll check the temperature, and then we'll do the test again and throw the car on the cooler to see how much difference we have there. I know most races you have a minute and a half between rounds. We could do that. I mean, we could actually let it go a minute 30 just so that it's consistent with what you guys get. or what you guys are used to, but I also know that, you know, it depends on how much time you have. A lot of guys, like when we race here, I never hold people to that minute and a half, you know, especially if it's a new guy and he's like hustling around trying to, you know, he's left his controller here, he's messing with his car over there, like, you know, whatever. So, but we'll do 2 minutes on the track, minute and a half off. We'll test the two. Sam will sneeze, and that means that it's time to start the race. So 2 minutes.
Get ready.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Go.
So this is a V-spec with the tire change, just in case you guys are wondering what kind of car. So level 4 mags, 6 ohm arm. Crikey. Oh. About 30 seconds left. Ten seconds. So I'm running like mid 2.8s, fast lap 275. So okay, so 38 laps, 2 minutes, just under 3-second average because of those stupid crashes. But the car is definitely nice and toasty. So our armature, 104, you can see it's kind of going up still. So that's what I was talking about, where we want to make sure we give it appropriate time. The calm, that's really what I care about as far as temp goes. 117. Okay, so 120. We're gonna let it sit for a minute and a half now, while with untouched, no fan, just the same as if we were running it. I'm gonna reset this guy. And I got my timer going, so we'll see what happens. But on a 6 ohm arm like that, or a super stock, I mean, 145 on the comm is about the most you would want to see. So that car, you know, I could lower it if I felt like I needed a little bit more handling out of it. It has some temperature room there. But if you're running, you know, 20 laps and the car's at 165 or 145, that's getting up there, you know. So anything to me over 130 is usually where I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. And sometimes too, the way that you drive, so different people drive differently, that can also change the temperature. Like if you're running the car in low RPM, running it really hard out of the corners versus keeping your momentum up, the car's gonna run hotter. So it's not just a apples to apples comparison. There's so many variables. So just pointed that out just so that you guys know, like you might set a car up perfectly and try it again down the road and someone else runs it and it doesn't run the same temperature. So armature, just under 100, calm, 105, 107. So the reason this side reads more is because the brush arm's right there. So we're actually getting the brush arm temperature. So 1065, that's gonna be our temperature. Let's go back to the air compressor and we'll bring the temp down on this thing and we'll repeat that test. So you can use, if you want to, you can use keyboard cleaner. I try not to get it to the point where it's freezing anything though. And like even this, you know, this compressor, I'm barely throttling it, just cooling stuff down. Yeah, quick little rev there. So now it's nice and cool. We'll double check the temp and then we'll repeat that test. And this time we're gonna be using the Slot Guru turbo cooler to cool it off. So, okay, 74-ish, 72.5. So we're right back at our ambient. Okay, 2 minutes again. Let's see what we get. Okay, so I squeezed 40 out of it that time with a crash, so a little bit better average. 277 best lap compared to a 275 earlier, so looks like when we get in here, 120, 122, armature is right around 100. Yeah, so we're gonna call it 120. Putting it on our block here. Fire it up, let it go a minute and a half, and we will see what we get. So something to keep in mind, guys, it's sitting up off the table because that's where the fan is, it's pulling air down through there. If you put it on carpet or you put it on something that doesn't allow it to do that, it's not gonna work as well. So please make sure you keep that in mind. And just kind of a real quick thing on the racing or at least on like the type of heat racing I was doing right there. Really good way to test parts. We'll have a video at some point on what we call it's not necessarily driver's training, it's more how to test parts and to see if they're good for qualifying or good for race pace or just overall good for every aspect of the driving. So you might have something that makes a better lap time, but your median over, a 2-minute time period is less or more, then that would be either a better or worse part for the racing side of things. So we got 15 seconds left. I expect it to drop quite a bit. I already forgot, I should have wrote down what it was earlier, but I think it went down to around 100 degrees after it cooled off, but we'll have to check. We'll show it in the video, that's right. All right, so let's get this guy turned off. 84 degrees on the comm, 82 on the arm. Let's try to get in there to get the hottest temperature. So 85 degrees. So what is that? Almost 40 degrees?
20 degrees. Well,
it was 120.
is it?
120 and change, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Peak temp.
Yeah, so our peak temp, so it cooled it off quite a bit. And that's exactly what, the purpose of these things is for. So real simple setup. They do come with an Allen to change the batteries out. They can work for any type of car. Obviously, if you have more time to let the car get cooler, then that would be better. If we started another 2-minute race at that 85 degrees instead of 75 degrees, that temperature could continue to rise. And that's also why you want to make sure you're not running your first heat and ending at 145 degrees or something like that, because the temperature will continue to go up. If we were outside, if it was 90 degrees, that's your ambient. There is going to be a climb from there. But overall, super happy with these. They are available on the Viper site. Definitely check them out. It's a great tool for your toolbox and your workbench, your race program, whatever you want to call it. And hopefully you like this video. We'll see you on the next one.